From Jazwares and their Pokemon line, we're looking at the epic battle figure Rillaboom and their battle figure of Toxel. These are, of course, two Pokemon from Sword and Shield. The only starter from Sword and Shield I have never once used, I'm afraid, though I do like the design a bit. And, of course, Toxel, which eventually evolves into Toxtricity, which is probably my favorite Pokemon from that entire generation. So, we're just going to open these two up today, see how they feel together. It's not necessarily that they're from the same wave or even from the same year. I've had this Toxel sitting around for a little bit. It's more just, I had the two of them, want to look at them. We're just going to look at the Toxel first, and then we'll move on to the really big gorilla. Taking a look at Toxel first, and he is a little guy. Look at this. So, for anyone who doesn't know, Toxel's whole thing is they start off looking like an actual baby. They look like they're wearing a diaper and a bib, and all their moves look like they're just throwing a temper tantrum. And then when they evolve, they look like a punk rocker, and they're amazing and super tough, but you had to get through this really weak baby form first. I really like Toxtricity, and as an extent of that, I do kind of like Toxel. I love the purple here. I think the colors are perfect. The painting is actually really solid on this guy. I'm not big on the design, especially like the diaper part of it, I guess. But at the same time, it's supposed to be a baby Pokemon. You literally get this one from the nursery usually, or you can find them in the wild. And then Toxtricity is the big deal. That's the reason why you put up with this. It's kind of a better exchange Gyarados, because at least he can get a couple of moves. So overall, I think this is a good representation of Toxel, and I'm glad to have him, even though I wouldn't necessarily like Toxel just by themselves, you know? Still, a good little depiction of him. Looking at Rillaboom next, and this is really cool, man. So for anyone who doesn't know, the epic battle figures that Jazwares puts out, these are basically Pokemon that are made to be as big as they possibly can be for about 20 bucks. We've got a lot of really cool Pokemon through this. We got a Lugia, we got a Metagross, we got Gyarados, Dragonite, a lot of Pokemon that are massive and that scale really well with people like the trainer team figures, but they are not made with the adult collector in mind. Whereas the trainer team figures are made to be articulated and fully featured, these guys are meant to be big. There's no gimmicks, they're just big, and I like that. But at the same time, they're a lot closer to small figures than anything else. So looking at Rillaboom, there's nothing in the head, which makes sense. Look at this massive plume of hair behind him. He has a universal at the shoulder, which is good. There's nothing in the rest of the arm, not even in the hands. I keep twisting here because I feel like there should be, but it's not. It's glued down. And then we have universal at the hips. That's it. This is a 4-point of articulation figure. Now, granted, it is still massive. Let me pull in a figure here for scale. So this is one of my Zombie Sailor toy figures. Oh, he is about 6 inches tall, all said and done. Do I have a better to scale reference here? Here we go. This is a 5-inch Kenner Joker, and as you can see, absolutely towers over him. So, this is a big figure. You're getting a good chunk of plastic for your money. And there is good paint here. It's solidly sculpted, even though it is a simple design. I will point this out. There's a pretty nasty scratch here on the arm. It didn't come that way. That was me. I was trying to cut it out of the packaging and the scissors slipped. Unfortunate, but, you know, that's how it goes. He does come with one big accessory. That being his drums. So Rillaboom, his whole thing is that he is a drum-playing gorilla. You can't get him into crazy poses, but you can at least get it look like he is hitting the drums. There we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so, again, I think just the fact that this guy is so big justifies his price point. I like him. I'd like it more if this was a Pokemon I had any type of personal connection to. Again, I've never used him in gameplay. I'm not really big on his design. But I do like him. I think it's a cool figure and a cool enough starter. Here we have Rillaboom next to Cinderace. Cinderace was a battle feature figure, which means he had a gimmick built in and he was a bit cheaper. Inteleon is similar, but I've not actually opened Inteleon yet. When I have him opened up, we'll look at all three of them together. But what I'll say here is I don't think Rillaboom is that much bigger than Cinderace. And if he is, I feel like this is a very one-sided fight. I feel like these figures show two ends of the spectrums for Jazwares and their run on Pokemon right now. Toxel is a very simple static figure that makes up for it with a lot of paint and solid sculpting for its size. Rillaboom is comparatively very simply sculpted and painted, but he's so massive that he makes up for it. And then of course you have a figure like Cinderace, who I'll pop in here real quick, which is a gimmick figure that is doing its own thing entirely. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. These Jazwares figures, when they hit, they are some of the most surprising figures out there. They can have a great deal of depth to them that you would never even notice. This is one of the more simplistic of the epic battle figures, don't get me wrong, but I still like it. It might not be the Metagross that I looked at just a few weeks ago, but it's still very good. I think these figures are amazing. The Jazwares Pokemon line is one of my favorite lines going on right now, and I'm excited to see what else they get up to this year, because if this is their standard, this is a pretty good baseline.